Hi, it's me, Mr. B. We're going to graph inequalities. Some of this you've already done. Some of this is going to be a review for you. Some of it you haven't. This first slide here is review. So let's go back to, first of all, what an inequality is. An inequality is just like an equation, except instead of an equal sign, you have an inequality sign, just like in the two examples here on the screen. All right, so when do you fill in the circle? If you remember, whenever you graph these on a number line, you put a circle at the number. So in this case, I have an 11 at the top and a -9 at the bottom. So I can put an open circle or a closed circle. So if the inequality has an equal sign, then we're going to fill in the circle. So for example, x is less than or equal to 11. So I'm going to draw my number line. You already have a number line on your sheet. I always put 0 on there just as a frame of reference. I'll put 11 over here to the right. Now since the equal sign is there, right there, then that means I'm going to fill in the circle. Now to draw the arrow, if the variable is on the left side of the inequality, I always point the arrow in the same direction as the inequality. So in this case, x is less than or equal to 11, so I'm going to draw the arrow to the left. Now if the inequality does not have an equal sign, then I don't fill in the circle. So x is greater than -9. So I draw my number line, put 0 on there, here's -9 over here. I have an open circle instead of a closed circle because there's no equal sign. X is greater than -9, so that means I'm going to draw the arrow to the right. And again, since the x is on the left, the arrow always points in the same direction as the inequality right there, and the inequality points to the right, so the arrow points to the right. Okay, so a compound inequality is a pair of inequalities joined by and or. You basically take two inequalities and kind of smush them together as one. All right, so let's start with an and inequality. So for example, x is greater than or equal to -4 and x is less than or equal to 2. All right, so let's put that on a number line. And in an and inequality, the dots will always be connected. So here's -4 over here, here's 2 over here. Now there's equal signs under here, so that means I'm going to close my circles. All right, so in an and inequality, x is greater than or equal to -4 and less than or equal to 2. So that means it has to be any numbers between -4 and +2. Anything outside of there won't work. For instance, 15. 15 is greater than or equal to -4, but not less than or equal to 2. So it fits one, but not the other. It has to meet both in this case. Now the or inequality, now the word or is there. You'll see here on the number line once I draw it, x is less than 4, so here's 0, 4, and 12. So I don't see any equal signs, so I'm going to put open circles at each of these. Now an or means it only has to meet one of the two inequalities. X is less than 4 or x is greater than 12. So x is less than 4 or greater than 12. Now the reason I have the word ors there is because an or inequality is just like the oars of a boat. The oars of a boat go out from the boat, so just like the arrows in an or inequality. Hi, it's me, Mr. B. We're going to solve and graph the compound inequality 3x plus 1 is greater than 10, or 2 parentheses x minus 5 is less than -16. First thing I see right here is the word or. It's a compound inequality. So I know eventually my graph is going to look like the oars of a boat. I'm going to have two circles, either filled in or not, and the arrows are going to go in opposite directions. All right, but before I get to that point, I'm going to treat these as two separate inequalities. So let's do the left-hand side. First thing I want to do is subtract 1 from both sides. So I have 3x is greater than 9. Now divide by 3. So x is greater than 3. All right, now I go to the right-hand side. First thing I do, distribute the 2. So I have 2x minus 10 is less than -16. Add 10 to both sides. So I end up with 2x is less than -6. Now I divide by 2. So x is less than -3. Now I did not flip the sign there, and the reason I didn't is because this sign right here is positive. It doesn't matter what that sign is. It's this sign over here that's positive, so I don't flip the sign. But if I divide by a negative, then I flip the sign. Alright, so I have x is greater than 3, or x is less than -3. Alright, so let's write the inequality. So I'm going to put the -3 first. So x is less than -3, and then x is greater than 3. It doesn't matter which way you write it. I could have written x is greater than 3 on the left, and x is less than -3 on the right. It doesn't matter. It just makes more sense this way since the -3 is less than +3. Now I'm going to stick the word or between them. Now I can draw my graph. So I'm going to put the 0 right in the middle. Here's 3 over here, -3. Now I don't see any equal signs under any of the inequalities, so that means open circles. And since it's an or, arrows go in opposite directions. Hi there, it's me, Mr. B. We're going to solve and graph the compound inequality 4y is greater than or equal to 3y plus 2 and 5y is less than or equal to 50. First thing I look for is the word and or, and I see the word and, so that means eventually my graph is going to be two circles filled in or open, connected. Connect the dots. So before I get to that point, I'm going to solve each of these inequalities separately. Let's start with the left-hand side. I'm going to subtract 3y. So I end up with y is greater than or equal to 2. And I'm done with that side. That was an easy one. So let's go to the right-hand side. Let's divide by 5. So I have y is less than or equal to 10. All right, so I'm ready to put my inequality together, my solution. So since it's an and, this is always going to be the way we write an and inequality. I'm going to put the variable in the middle. The inequalities always, 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 always point to the left. And in this case, I have equal signs for both. Now, if the inequality signs point to the left, I'm going to put the smaller number over here and the bigger number over there. All right, well, that makes it easy. Since I did that work there, it makes drawing the graph easy because the numbers are going to be in exactly the same order they are up there. So I'm going to put closed circles at 2 and 10. And since it's an and, I'm going to connect the dots. So it's all the values that are between 2 and 10, including 2 and 10. Now, why do they have to always point to the left? Well, let's say I did this. I put the variable in the middle, and I pointed the inequalities to the right. Now, that would mean I would have to put the 10 on the left and the 2 on the right, because y is greater than or equal to 2 and less than or equal to 10. So these two things are the same. So those two inequalities are the same. However, this one makes more sense because the numbers are in order. Over here, the numbers are out of order. It just doesn't look right. So even though it's not technically wrong, you would never see it written that way. It will always, always, always be written that way. So variable in the middle, inequality signs always point to the left. Smaller number on the left, bigger number on the right for an and inequality.